So, sit however's comfortable. If you haven't been in yoga for a while, there's a couple people here that's true, and also online. Just really take it easy. Remember, if something hurts, don't do it. And get comfortable, whether you sit in a chair or sit on the floor. You can use blankets if you're on the floor. You can also support with blocks underneath your knees if you're cross-legged, if you feel uncomfortable in your hips or your knees. But just lengthen out now. Let yourself shift around just a little bit side to side. So you feel your sitting bones there and the surface you're on. And then come back in and try to feel as equal as you can between your sitting bones, those two bones that are reaching down towards the floor of the chair. And let your eyes gently close, really gently, so you don't feel like you're tensing up in your eyes. It's like your eyes are kind of melting back into your sockets. And then just enjoy feeling your breath coming in and going out through your nose. So don't force the breath. Just enjoy feeling the breath coming in through the nose, going out through the nose. Good. And then let your breath move you a little bit so that when you exhale, lean a little bit forward, and when you inhale, come on back upright. So it might not be very far. Depends on how your back feels with this. It is a little bit of a forward bend. You're thinking about keeping your back long, but just adding this sense of moving now with your breath. Exhale is bringing you forward, and inhale is bringing you back up. So take your time. Let yourself feel nice and lengthened out as you keep that momentum of the breath carrying you forward and back. Good. And then the next time you come all the way back up to sitting, let yourself stay there. And let's release our arms on out beside us here. And inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And then we'll inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. Good. Now let's inhale the hands straight up from our shoulders and rotate our palms up for a second. Let your elbows be soft. And then just bend your elbows and let your fingertips touch the tops of your shoulders here now. And now as we exhale, let's bring our elbows forward, maybe even touching them, it depends on you. And then when you inhale, open them back out wide. So exhaling, drawing the elbows forward and towards each other a little bit. And then inhale, open back. And then one more time, exhaling, drawing the elbows forward. And on the inhale, letting them release back wide. And then unfold your arms on back down beside you here. Now let's inhale just our right arm. If you do the different arm, it doesn't matter. All the way up, and we're going to come into side stretch. So breathing into that side, you're stretching. You can put your hand on the floor if you're on the floor to give you support there. You can put the hand in your lap if you want, if you're in your chair, or you can hold on to the chair. And then we're going to come on back up and lower that arm down. And we're going to inhale the left arm all the way out and up. And then again, coming over into that side stretch. Hand support if you need. Breathing into the left side here. Feel the ribs expanding with your breath. And then we'll come on back up and lower our arms on back down beside us here now. And from here, inhaling. And on the exhale, twist to your right. Let yourself come around. Again, if you twist the other way, it's fine. We're going to do both sides. But come into your twist. Let yourself sit up nice and tall. Think of your chin being parallel to the floor. And it depends on you how far you turn your head in this twist. You know, you can keep your head more in line with your chest. Or you can turn a little bit more to look back farther if you want. One more inhale. And exhale, come on back, stop at center, take a breath here. See if you can feel your feet on the floor. Press down a little bit into your feet. Inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to twist the other way. So again, as you come into this twist, feel that length in the back of your neck and throat. Think of your chin being about parallel to the floor. And then whether you turn to look a little more behind yourself or not is up to you. Just be mindful. One more inhale. And on the exhale, use your belly to bring you back around into center. And remember what leg you have in front if you're cross-legged. We're going to stretch our legs out for a second. And move through our feet. Let our feet circle. Now you can go opposite directions or you can let the feet circle the same way. That depends on you. And then when you're ready, just reversing. Let yourself move through your ankles. Come back into center. Let's flex through both our feet there. And then press in like you're pushing into the balls of your feet, but your toes are back. Like you have on real high heel shoes. And then point your toes. And then draw just your toes back. And now come into flexing the whole foot. So you're moving through your feet a little bit here. So again, push into the balls of the feet. Keep your toes drawing back like you're in, you know, I haven't worn high heel shoes in a long time, but if you kind of remember that image. And then point your feet. And then pull the toes back. And then draw back into that full flex. Good. And we're going to release back to crossing the other leg in front if you're on the floor so that you even out your hips a little bit there. And we'll bring our arms on out beside us again. And let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And from here, let's bring our left arm on top of our right. Give yourself a little hug there. Let your elbows really melt down. And let your head tilt one way. One ear towards one shoulder. Doesn't matter which one. Let the neck release. If it feels okay, I mean, if you have to control it a little bit and don't go so far, if it's painful, you know, you need to stop and adjust. We'll come up and go to the other side. So let yourself just release over to the other side. You might feel a little bit more in between the shoulder blades when you tilt your head there. And then come on back into center. Now you can slide to a little, remember we're trying to release, not add tension. Imagine the shoulders releasing down away from your ears. Good. We're going to release the arms right on back down beside us. And then float the arms up. We're going to bring the right arm on top of the left this time. And again, now where you hold is up to you. Kind of more towards your armpits is fine. Up and over the shoulders if that feels good to you. So it feels really releasing. And then again, tilt your head one way. Let yourself release there through the side of the neck that you're stretching. Feel that space between your shoulder blades. And then we'll rise the head back up again, and we're going to tilt the other way. So again, let it feel really good. And then come on back up to the top, and it is up to you again, whether you slide to that half wrap, the back of your left hand can come to the outside of your right elbow, or you can come into backs of the hands towards each other, maybe not even all the way, or bringing the left fingers to that right palm if you choose. You know, there's this little twist of bringing your thumbs to the midline that can get pretty intense, so just be mindful how it feels in your own shoulders. Good, and then we'll release and let our arms come on down beside us. And then let your arms kind of hang. Shake out your hands just a little bit. Move through your fingers. Good, and then we're going to come forward one more time into a little seated forward bend. Now those of you on the floor, if you need to, you can either stretch your legs out or be cross-legged. You can put a block in front of you if you want. Kind of let your fingers come to it and come forward with that low back leading you. If you're in your chair, you can go even lower. You can separate your feet. You can bring your hands down to a block or even onto your ankles if you want, or you can put your elbows above your knees and support yourself, right? So when you come into a forward bend, you want it to feel like a release for your low back, not a sense that you're adding stress. You know, you don't want any little twinges, so come back out of it if it feels like too much. But just enjoy feeling the breath coming in to the back ribs once you're in your bend here, your forward bend. Feeling the ribs expand as you inhale. Good. One more nice full breath. And now as you come back up, take your time. You can use your hands to help you. Let yourself come on back up, and you can stretch your legs out if you're on the floor or in your chair again. Move through your feet a little bit. And we're going to head around towards either hands and knees, or if you know you don't want to be on your knees, you can turn your chair around so the seat faces you. And coming down, hands under the shoulders and feet or knees underneath your hips. And you are more than welcome to change how your hands are. So if your wrists bother you, remember you can come to fists. You can hold the edge of the seat of the chair so you don't have a wrist crease there. Or you can come down onto blocks or onto your forearms on the chair or the floor, right? Which will really take you out of your wrists. So be mindful. Let yourself start to ease through. So cat-cow is another movement with your breath. Generally taught, exhaling when you round up into your back in your cat pose, and inhaling when you send your tailbone back and up, moving through into cow. But actually, it is really taught both ways, so if you prefer to switch your breath to be the opposite, you can kind of play with that a little bit and see. It does make it feel differently, which is very interesting, isn't it? Just where you inhale and exhale changes the feeling of the poses and moving through into the poses. So just enjoy feeling that nice flexibility through the spine. Finish off the one that you're on, so you come back then now to a more neutral spine. And we're going to step our left foot forward and our right foot back to find lunge here. So you know, if you're using your blocks, you want them on your mat, underneath your hands or under your shoulders, any height for the blocks. And if you're on the chair, your hands will probably be a little bit forward of your shoulders, but take your time. Get that alignment there of the feet like you're on very narrow railroad tracks. Let your shoulders draw down away from your ears. Enjoy opening up through the back of that right leg. Good. And we're going to switch legs. So however you feel is best for you to come to left foot stepping back. Remember, you're on really narrow railroad tracks, so you have a little more ease up into your hips in these lunges. And take your time. Enjoy now feeling that sense of length in the back of that left leg. Engage your belly just a little bit. Good. And we are going to switch legs again. Well, entirely up to you. If you decide it feels kind of good to bring your left hand up to your thigh, you can do that. If not, don't. Or forearm if you're down lower, right? So don't do it if it feels better to keep your hands down. Keep them down. And we're going to come on back to switching legs again. So letting yourself come to the other side. Take your time. Again, get that alignment. Remember that front knee going no farther forward than your ankle. And then if you'd like to lift your right hand or forearm up, you can. Good. And then we'll let our hands come down so we can step forward into standing forward bend. Feet, hips distance apart, parallel. Remember, if your back bothers you, use support. Hands can be on the chair or forearms can be on the chair. You can bend your knees and rest your elbows above your knees and let your spine be long that way, if that's better for you. But just see if you can release any tension you might be feeling in your neck. So if your head can hang, and if it doesn't bother your back at all, let yourself release to feel the weight of your head. Feel equal. Make sure you're not locking your knees. Try to feel equal between your feet. Knees can be bent, remember, in forward bend. Sitting bones over your heels. And let your face soften. And remember to let your jaw feel nice and relaxed. One more breath. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips. We're going to rise straight on up to standing. And we'll inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So unfold your arms and take your time here. Walk around a little bit. Kind of just walk through your mat. Move through your feet a little bit. And start to then think about coming into your mountain pose from your feet up. So getting your feet underneath you. The distance apart that feels good for you. Check your feet. See if you can be as parallel as possible. Toes facing forward. And then bring your hands on together in front of your chest and let your gaze come out like you're looking out towards the horizon. For a second, lift your chin up. See how that feels, right? And then bring your chin more parallel and then lower the chin a little bit. And then, again, it's just real easy. Get that head right into that alignment where it feels like your head is floating up there now on top of your spine. You can close your eyes. You can keep them open. You know, if you tend to be dizzy, you might want to keep your eyes open. Let yourself enjoy finding that sense of balance in your mountain pose. So the front and the back body are balanced. The right and the left side of your body are in balance. And then we'll unfold our arms right on down beside us. And we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, we're going to bend our knees and come forward into standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long back. Hands can be on your chair or your blocks or your legs. And we're going to step the right foot back and come into lunge. So let your shoulders draw down. Enjoy feeling that length. And we'll come on into a downward facing dog pose. And you know how you come into down dog as far as where your hands are, totally up to you. Take your time. If you need to change where your hands are height-wise, do it. Feel your elbows hugging in towards each other. Reach back through your tailbone. And now, just imagine that the sides of your body are equal. Elbows hug in towards each other, still feeling that engagement in your shoulders. And on the next inhale, we'll come out towards a plank. Now, if you need to, you can put your knees down in your plank, or you can come to forearms and get out of your wrists. And then from here, we'll come on back into downward facing dog pose. So adjusting between your dog and your plank if you need to here. And we'll let our right foot step forward to come to lunge. Now, you can always get there however you want. Put your left knee down or come up and then back again with that left leg, whatever works. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Feet hips distance apart and parallel. Again, see if you can release to where your back feels okay. Let yourself enjoy finding the weight of your head if it doesn't bother your back. And put your hands wherever you want. I mean, if you need support, use it. If you'd like to let your hands hold your own elbows, you can. Or you can put your hands up on your back if that feels really good too. Be where you're able to be, where your back feels good. Good. One more breath. And then we'll bend our knees, bring our hands to our hips. We're going to rise up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Let's inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms like wings as you fold forward from your hips. Bend your knees as you come. Takes it out of your back. And on your next inhale, find a nice flat back again. Again, hands can be whatever height you want. Your shins, your thighs, your blocks, your chair. And this time we'll step the left foot back to come into lunge. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears now. Let yourself, as you start to get really warm, feel your whole body in your lunge. And we'll come on into down dog from here. So again, as you reach back into your down dog, bend your knees if you need. If you like walking, go ahead and bend one knee at a time. And let yourself release that way. Good. And then come on back to full dog. Let your next inhale bring you out towards your plank. And again, you adjust your plank how you need. Some of you might want to bend your elbows, do a little push-up here. You're more than welcome to do that if you want. You can stay in your plank. Just be mindful. And then we'll come on back again into downward facing dog pose. And this time left foot comes forward to find lunge. So again, whatever you need to do to get back into that lunge. And then again, just picture your whole body in the lunge. Really feel the whole body here, the energy through the whole body in your lunge. And then we'll step forward and come back into standing forward bend. Right to those breaths. Get comfortable. However you need to put your hands, your arms, do it. You can always change. If you feel discomfort anywhere, let yourself add what you need to feel good in your forward bend. And then let go of your face. Let go of your jaw. Imagine every muscle on the face just totally relaxing. Your forehead smoothing out. All around your eyes and all around your mouth. And then we'll let our hands come up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise on up. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Inhaling hands up through the midline. Now, if you can, keep your hands together, just the fingertips and the tips of your thumbs. And then bend your elbows. Let the hands come behind the head. Just let your elbows come in a little bit more towards your face if you can, right? Now, if you feel like you want to look up a little bit, you can. Just don't try not to change how your pelvis is aligned when you do that. So the tendency is to want to tuck your tailbone up when you do that. But try to reach the tailbone down towards between your heels so you still have that little natural curve in your low back. And then we'll stretch the arms back along overhead. If you're okay to look up at your hands, take a nice inhale, do. And on the exhale, let yourself fold forward again into your standing forward bend. And let your next inhale lengthen out your spine. Reach back through the tailbone. And we're going to step into a down dog from here. So your hands stay whatever height you like them to be. Take your time. Hug your elbows towards each other. If you're able to spread your fingers wide, do. It depends on how you are in the pose. And then we'll come on back again towards that plank. Now, if you want to add a back bend here, you can, but it is not necessary. You can come to the floor onto your forearms and do a sphinx. You can come up into a little cobra. You can come through forward and up dog if you choose. And then we'll make our way back again into downward facing dog pose. Be mindful, easy. Walk if you need. Bend both your knees, remember. If you like in dog, it feels really good sometimes to bend both your knees. Reach back through your sitting bones. And on the next inhale, we'll come back out to that plank. Again, it is totally optional to do a back bend here. You can come into a back bend or not. You can come onto the floor on your forearms. You can come for a cobra or an up dog. And then we'll make our way back again into downward facing dog pose. Good. This time, let's bring our right foot forward to come into lunge. And then we'll come all the way back into standing forward bend again. Easy breaths. Feel the breaths now coming in to expand your ribs in all directions. So you actually feel the movement of the ribs when you inhale. You feel the space increasing between the ribs. And as you exhale, just imagine letting the top of the head maybe release a little closer towards the floor, even if it doesn't actually do it, right? Good. One more full deep breath. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips and bend our knees to rise up. Let's inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, let your left arm come down. Reach up through the right side of the body here. Now, let your palm turn to face the midline. And then slide your left hand down the outside of your left leg a little bit, coming into side stretch here standing. So just breathe into the right ribs. Let it feel really good. And then we'll rise back up. Let's bend our right elbow. Now, everybody's shoulder's different. If you can put the hand behind your head or behind your neck or on your upper back, do. And some of you might want to bring the left arm up and over the top and just put your hand on top of your elbow there. That's totally optional. So don't do anything that feels uncomfortable. And then we'll release. We're going to bring both arms right on back down beside us, and we're going to inhale the left arm all the way out and up. And then slide that right hand down your leg a little bit. It's not a huge looking side stretch, but if you reach into that left foot on the floor and then breathe into the left ribs, reaching up through the fingertips. Good. And then we'll rise on back up, and again, bend your elbow there. Now that hand can come wherever. Everybody's shoulder's different, right? So keep your gaze forward if you can, though. Adding that other arm, right arm up and over the top is totally up to you. You don't have to. You can do it if you choose to. Good. And then we'll release, again, both arms on down beside us. And then just bend your elbows. Let your hands come to meet in front of your chest. Find your mountain pose here. Remember, think about stacking, hips over ankles, shoulders over hips. And then think of space between your ears and your shoulders. And that feeling of being very balanced. Right to left, front to back. See if you can imagine inhaling up the front of your body and exhaling down the back of your body. And then we'll let our arms go ahead and unfold on down beside us, and you can move around however you need to. We're going to come into some warriors. If you're using your chair, you might want to turn the back of it around to face you, and have your blocks definitely both handy here. So you can use those if you want them. So stepping forward towards the front of your mat, we're going to come into Warrior 1 first. So if you have your chair there, you can put your fingertips on it. We're going to step the right foot back. So we're coming into Warrior 1, keeping the shoulders square towards the front of the mat. And if your balance challenged a little bit, you might want to separate your feet a little wider. You might want to keep your hands on the chair. If you're able to bring your hands to your heart, do. Shoulders are around square. And now, if you have any doubt that that left knee is bent too deeply forward, look at it. Make sure you're not bending that knee out beyond your toes. And then bring your gaze on back forward again. See if you can let yourself feel very equal between your legs here. And then we'll release our arms down beside us, and let's inhale the arms forward and then rise them up, maybe to a wide V. Again, you can keep your hands on the chair. You can put one hand on the chair if you want and rise the other arm up so you have a little balance going. Feel that uplift in the front of the body. If you'd like to look up a little bit, do. One more inhale here. And as you exhale, lower your arms down. We're going to straighten the left knee out. And we're going to start coming forward for pyramid pose. So if you have your chair there, you can put your hands on the chair. You can let your hands come down to your blocks or down to the seat of the chair. So if you're using your blocks, maybe highest height would be good. And adjust your stance now. You know, you might want to get shorter or you might want to get longer once you get your hands down. So you're grounded through that back foot. Let your thighs feel like they're engaging upward, like you're creating space in your knees. And enjoy letting the backs of the legs open up there. Now some of you might feel really good to bend your elbows and fold forward over that front leg. It might actually feel like a relief. If it doesn't, don't do it. Just take your time. You're grounded through both your feet here. Good. Back foot's turned out maybe 20, 30 degrees. One more breath here. And then bring your body back up more parallel to the floor. Now we're going to find lunge here. So we're going to bend that front knee and let that right heel reach directly behind our foot. So you're coming back into that lunge that we did many times during sun salutations, and then bring your left hand to your left hip and let yourself roll that left shoulder up into a twist. Now, as you have that right hand grounded, it's important that it be under your shoulder so you feel supported. You can stretch your left arm straight up if you feel like you want to add the shoulder into this, or you can keep your hand down. One more breath. And then let your left hand come on back down. We're going to step forward, get our feet right underneath us, so adjust your way that you are here on your mat if you need to. And let yourself take a couple of full deep breaths. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips, and we're going to rise straight on back up to standing. And we'll inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And then go ahead and release your arms on down. Shake out just a little bit. And we're going to do the other side. So again, you can let yourself come forward to the front of your mat. Have everything handy there for yourself. And we'll step the left foot back this time. So warrior one. Remember, it is called front-facing warrior because you keep your shoulders square to the front of the mat. The back foot is turned out maybe 20 or 30 degrees. If you're in a pretty short stance, your hips are pretty square too. If you're longer, that might not be the case. So don't force it. Let your hands come to your heart. And again, if you feel like, this right knee, you need to look at it. Make sure, again, that it's not bending out beyond your toes because that puts a lot of undue pressure on your knees. And then you can bring your gaze on back forward. Let yourself feel equal between your feet. Kind of imagine for a second you're zipping up the front of your body a little bit. And now reach your tailbone like it's reaching back towards that left heel back there. And now we'll unfold our arms on down beside us and inhale our arms forward. Bring them on up overhead. Now you can widen them really wide. You can keep them forward if your shoulders need that. You can bring the hands more directly over your shoulders if that feels really good. And again, feel that lift in the front of the body. You don't have to look up to feel that, right? Imagine inhaling up the front of the body, exhaling down the back of your body. Like you're encircled by your breath. And on the next exhale, lower your arms on back down. And we're going to straighten the front leg out for pyramid. Again, bringing your hands down. So, depends on you. Once you get your hands to the height you want to be, and you adjust the stance so that you feel really good with that back heel on the floor. You feel good about your thighs lifting up. See if you can lengthen out through the spine here. So let yourself feel a nice flat back if possible. And enjoy feeling that sense of drawing your hip pointer bones towards each other a little bit, right? Those two bones are trying to reach towards each other, which engages your belly. And if you like to fold over that front leg, you can. That's totally up to you. Again, if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Good. One more breath. And then come on back again, more parallel to the floor with your body. We're going to bend the front knee and reach into that lunge now. So you'll have to adjust to send the left heel directly behind your foot. How long of a stance, up to you. And then we'll bring our right hand to our right hip, and we're going to turn into that twist. So hand can stay, palm down on your sacrum there if you're able to do that, if your shoulder lets you. And of course, if you like to stretch the arm up, another thing you can do if your shoulder feels good to do that, you can always just keep your hand more on your hip too. Everybody's shoulders are different, so be where you can. Good. And then we'll bring that right hand on back down. We're going to step forward and get our feet right underneath us. And let's bend our knees and rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Now imagine you have a string attached to the base of your spine. And it comes up through your spinal column and goes out the top of your head. And it's being pulled upward. Make sure now that you don't tuck your tailbone forward, because look what that does to your spinal alignment, right? So your tailbone is actually reaching back towards between your heels, a little bit behind even maybe, And then you're reaching up through the top of the head, and you've just got all this space. It's so easy to be in mountain pose, almost effortless. It's like you could stay here for hours. And then we'll go ahead and let our arms come on down. We don't have hours, so shake it out a little bit. And we're going to come into Warrior 2 on the other side now with the right foot stepping back. So, again, lining up your heels on this one. And if you need your chair, you can put your hand there to give you a little support. How far apart your feet are in Warrior 2, totally up to you. You can have your feet 1.5 feet apart and still really be into the core of your body. If you like to be longer, be longer. And then from here, start to reach back through your right arm. Let yourself really try not to look, but feel that the arm's reaching back from your shoulder. And then inhale that left arm up as well, coming into your Warrior 2 arms and bringing yourself to look out over the top of your left hand. Release your shoulders down. Feel that sense of the feet equal in the floor. That strength, powerful Warrior 2 pose. And then we'll turn our left palm up. And we're going to inhale, reach up towards the ceiling with the left hand. Right hand can give you a little support back there. And on your exhale, come into your side angle. So your left hand can be on your chair. It can be on your thigh. You can add the right arm up if you choose to, or keep the right hand down on your hip. So the arm can be in line with the right side of the body, or it can be straight up if that's something your shoulder wants to do, rather than bringing the arm more into line there. Good. We're going to come on back into Warrior 2 from here. Pressing the feet a little away from each other, feeling your hips. Feel how your core activates when you do that. And then we'll let our hands come down. We're going to turn our feet more parallel. And we're going to grab blocks if we need them and come forward for that wide-legged forward bend. So once you get your hands down to whatever surface you want to use, adjust your stance a little bit and then start to move, bending a knee at a time. And that might even, in a little bit, make you want to adjust your stance again. So take your time. So if you bend one knee and then the other, if your knees are okay to do that, okay, you can find a little more in your inner thighs. But if your knees don't like that, don't do it. Good. And then come on back to being even between your feet here now. And let yourself lengthen out your spine. So walk your hands out where you feel a nice long back. Remember, knees can be bent or straight. But then imagine you're pressing your feet away from each other, like you're trying to lengthen your mat with your feet. And think about your inner thighs kind of melting backwards. And then just take a couple of breaths there. Good. And then see if you can find the best place for you to stay to be with your breath in this pose, where you don't feel any more tension or any sense of discomfort anywhere in your body. So if you need to grab blocks and put them under your head or your arms or your hands, do. If you feel like resting your elbows above your bent knees, you can do that to give your back support. I mean, you can even put your head on block or blocks too. But just be mindful. You know, hands can come wherever is comfortable. Just give yourself time to be with your breath, finding that sense of following your breath all the way through to the end of your inhales, all the way through to the end of your exhales. Good. And then to come up, you know, you want to be really mindful. Bringing your hands to your thighs or hips, or bringing yourself up with the feet coming closer together first. And if you're dizzy, hold on to something if you need to, right? Once you come up. And we're going to come to the other side. So take your time. The left foot's going to step back. Coming into Warrior 2. So that back foot is about parallel to the back edge of your mat. Now you can turn your heel back further if you want to. And then lining that right heel up with the left and bending that right knee. And again, take your time, really feel that alignment. And then we'll start to rise the arms on up and out. Now this time, flex your hands, both your hands, and look at the back of your right hand. But let your elbows be pretty soft, right? So you're not thinking of tensing up in the tops of the shoulders. And then go ahead and let the hands come back down and reach out through both sets of fingertips now. So now you're coming into your warrior two arms. You're reaching back through the left fingertips and forward through the right. Letting yourself feel the feet equal in the floor. Good. And from here, let's turn the right palm up, and we're going to inhale. Reach up towards the sky with that right hand. Full breath coming into the right ribs. And on your next exhale, coming into that side angle where either your forearm or your hand come to your chair or your leg. And then allowing that left arm to do what it wants, right? It can come up in line with the left side. Your hand can stay on your hip. You can bring the arm straight up from your shoulder. So really just being mindful, enjoying, finding the length through both sides of your body here. Think of your left sitting bone reaching down towards your left heel. Beautiful. We're going to come on back into warrior two. Pressing those feet away from each other gets you right back into your core strength in the pose. And we'll let our hands come down. We're going to turn our feet more parallel. And we're going to come forward again. So you grab your blocks if you need them. Take your time. This time, once you kind of get yourself down, walk a little bit to the right or shift your block a little or blocks a little to the right. You can walk all the way over to your right foot if you want to. It's up to you. And then we'll come on back into center and go a little to the left or all the way to the foot if you want. And then we'll come on back into center again. Let's bend both knees and let our elbows come to rest above our knees so that you just support yourself in the squat here. So you're reaching back through your tailbone. Your back is actually very lengthened. Even if you let your head hang, you really enjoy reaching back through your tailbone. And now see if you can just let your right shoulder reach like you're reaching it across the midline towards your left foot. Just a little bit, don't add too much, and then come back to center. And then left shoulder is kind of reaching over across a little bit. Just a nice stretch, and then come on back into center. And again, start to set up where you can be with your breath. So use your blocks if you want. Take your time, let your head hang if you can. And if you feel like you want to walk your hands back more towards between your feet, you can. So that your head releases all the way top of the head towards the floor. But be mindful, right? Sometimes people who have problems with forward bends in their low back, this pose actually sometimes is easier. So just enjoy. Feel the breaths now expanding the ribs. Really feeling those deep breaths. See if you can let your inhales and exhales feel like they're equally important so they even out a little bit. Good. One more breath. And then take your time to come up. Again, adjust your feet first if you need to before you rise up. And if you are dizzy, put your hand either to a wall or a chair. And be mindful when you walk your feet together. Move through your feet and your ankles just a little bit. Okay, we're not going to come to a wall today with our mats, but we are going to walk to a wall and put our fingertip on a wall. All right, but bring a block with you. So you two are fine over here. Sure, you can be right there. You. And Helen, you can come right here. So, yeah, there's room. So take your block, turn your left shoulder towards the wall, and put your block between your left foot and the wall. So you're going to stand on your left foot, and you're going to cross your right thigh over, and put your toes on that left block. Now, don't even bend anything yet. Well, bend your right knee, obviously, but don't bend your left knee yet. Let yourself just feel the toes on the block, and try to get yourself looking directly forward. But now, bend the left knee a little bit, but shift forward with your torso, right? So it's like you're about to sit down in a chair. And that's a lot of strengthening going on. It doesn't take very much. If you bend the knee a tiny bit and shift your hips back, feel what's going on, man. It's good for the hips, strengthening for the leg. Now, I know a lot of you like to go deeper and deeper. So if you want to, you can. You can go back farther with the hips. You can keep the toes on the blocks, coming towards your eagle pose. You can feel your thighs squeezing towards each other, even bringing your hands off the wall if you want. Or you can even wrap your left arm over your right and do your full wrap. So that's totally up to you. You know that. Let yourself find what you can, strengthening for your legs and your hips. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to rise back up, and we're going to turn around, and we're going to go to the other side. So again, you're standing on your right leg, and you're going to cross your left foot over. And, the toes can just touch the block. You can kind of flex a little bit, feel the ball of the foot if you want. Stay up for a second. Bring your gaze forward. You can even balance a little bit right there if you want. Let your hands come to your heart. It is kind of a weird balance. And then let yourself put your hand on the wall and, again, shift your hips back just a little bit. Maybe just a tiny, teeny little bit, a little bend in that right knee, or you might continue to go deeper if that feels good for you. And again, whether you let go of the wall or not, totally optional. You can bring your hands to your heart. You can keep your right hand on the wall. You can bring your right arm over your left and do your eagle arm wrap if you want to do that, if you feel really strong in your legs and your hips. Every day is a new day. And then finish off. Come on back up. Turn to face the wall. And walk your hands down. Come on back into a down dog with your hands at the wall. Now you might need to do fists with your hands. See about coming into that giant capital letter L shape. So you've got this sense of reaching back through your tailbone, reaching back through your sitting bones, and you find that length in the spine. Elbows hug in towards each other, just like in your dog on the floor. Your feet are right under your hips. Good. And imagine your inner thighs kind of melting their way behind you. Knees can be bent in this, or knees can be straight. And any of you who want to go a little farther, who really want to work a little harder, you can bring your feet a little closer together, lift right leg up in the air behind you, come into a little warrior three. You don't have to stay long. And then you can just bring it down and switch and go to the other side. And you can do it again if you want, almost like you're kind of walking through the warrior three. So switching when you want. And then releasing when you're ready to come back into that dog. And then we're going to walk on back up towards the wall. And move through your wrists a little bit here, especially if you had your hands flat. Make circles with your hands. Good. We're going to head back to our mats. And we're going to come down onto the floor, onto our bellies. So let yourself just come on down. All the way down on. Make a little pillow with your hands and rest your forehead on your hands so that you get comfortable. Now, see, if that's not comfortable, don't do it. You really want to be able to let your legs release, your low back. You can kind of let your hips shift a little side to side if you want. And then just breathe into your low back. See if you can feel the breath coming into the low back. And that makes your belly come down into the floor, right? So you're breathing into the belly and into the low back. Good. And then let yourself bend your right knee, flex your right foot, and don't reach back or anything. Just let yourself pull the heel in towards the buttocks a little bit, just without your arm. Just really letting yourself stretch out your quad a little. And then bring that right leg back down, and we're going to bend the left knee, flex the foot, and then release. Let that leg come on back down. Now let's bring our arms down alongside us. Turn your palms down towards the floor. And on your next inhale, let your head, your chest, and your legs float up a little bit. You can let yourself just enjoy coming into that little locust pose. Now float your hands up as well. And then release back down. See if you can turn your right cheek towards the floor and then turn your palms up and let yourself roll, let your shoulders just roll gently down towards the ground. And breathe into your low back. Now, sometimes doing this feels really difficult. So if you have to move and come to a kind of sending your chin down more or anything that makes your neck more comfortable, do it. Good. One more breath into the low back. And then bring your head back to center. We're going to inhale again, just the head and the legs up. And then release your hands as well so that you come into your locust pose. Doesn't have to be high to be working. Back body really engaging. Good. And then we'll release back down. Turn your head the other way. Let your palms face up so that then the shoulders naturally want to roll down. And then breathe into your low back. Good. One more breath. And now, come on back to center with the elbows coming under the shoulders now for a little Sphinx pose. So, if this is not comfortable for you, slide your elbows down more towards your waist so you're not so high. You can even bring them more forward if that feels better for your shoulders. So you've got to find what works for you in this back bend. Feel the belly gently engaging. It should feel kind of like a relief. So let yourself enjoy. Find your gaze wherever feels good for your neck, right? So usually lifting your chin up like that, shortening the neck, doesn't feel so good. Find length in the back of your neck, in the back of your throat. Good, and then bring your hands together, clasp them, send your pinky finger out, press down into the forearms a little bit. Now you can bend your knees and lift up into a half forearm plank here, where you're on the flesh above your knees. You can imagine you're trying to pull yourself forward to the front of your mat. So you come even more kind of up, forward, shoulders come a little forward to the elbows. Or you can put your toes down, lift your knees up, and come into a full forearm plank. Same thing, pressing into the forearms, elbows hugging inward, letting yourself find that core strength there. And then we'll release to come on back down. And take a breath, come all the way down, make that pillow with your hands, rest your forehead for a breath. And then, on your next inhale, let your head come off your hands, let your legs float up in your chest. So you're in this little locust pose. But from there, see if you can extend the arms forward like into a wide V, which is really the hardest locust pose, right? So that's up to you whether that feels bad or good. Don't do it if it's too much. And then release back down. Come back to elbows under your shoulders. And now come on back to that half forearm plank or a full one. Totally up to you. Finding your plank pose there. Good. So try to hum a little tune here. Give yourself a few more seconds if you can. And then we're going to release back down. And we're going to head towards pose of a child from here. So take your time. Everybody for pose of a child is different. You can stay somewhat forward on your forearms. You know you do not want to put undue pressure on your knees or on your back or your hips, right? Oftentimes knees can bother in this pose. So take your time. Whatever support you need. Remember, you can put a blanket rolled up behind your knees if that helps you. You can use your hands as a pillow. You can stretch your arms overhead or put the arms back alongside your body so that the palms face up. But enjoy breathing into the low back. Feeling that huge expansion. This pose just allows you so much to be able to feel how you can rise the low back with your breath. full deep breath here. And then take your time. We're going to come on up. So walk yourself on up. Bring your legs on around. And actually, you all might want to turn sideways on your mat. You can turn either direction you want to face. Grab a block, though, and let your legs come out wide, right? So the reason I say turn sideways, you might, like me, I like my heels on my mat. So even if I sat back like this, and if my legs need to be closer together, I'm still have my heels on the mat. But that's immaterial. If it feels fine to you, then open your legs out, do. And then have this block here right at the center. Let yourself lengthen up, feel nice and tall. Good, now feel your sitting bones drawing down, and then imagine that your legs are being like pinned down, inner thighs and outer thighs equally, which will keep your knees and your toes facing up in the pose. So that even if you ease your way forward a little bit, they stay there, right? It's kind of like if you saw a butterfly collection with the pins everywhere. So pinning your legs down, and then you can come forward, maybe just an inch, right? Maybe you're lucky to be able to sit up tall in this pose. It all depends on how you're built in your hips. So take your time. If sitting up's hard, you can sit on a blanket. You can sit up higher if you want to. You can let yourself use your hands behind you too. That's another thing that's helpful to lengthen. So just be mindful and ease your way to where you can be. Doesn't matter if you come very far. Doesn't matter if you come forward at all, all right? It's all to do with how you're built. Take your time. If you have the block there, sometimes just a central focus like that, you know, to put either your hands on, or those of you who are built to do this pose, if you want to come farther and put your forearms down. But you'll feel it in your inner thighs, right? Feel your heels kind of on the floor, drawing back towards you a little bit. And remember how we worked in our feet, how we pressed a little bit into the balls of the feet but held our toes back, the high heel thing? See if you can kind of do that a little bit right now. So that really engages as your heels come down and you press into the balls of the feet. You feel how that engages all the muscles you're stretching. Good. One more breath. And we're going to slowly rise up from here, and we're going to let our left hand come onto our left leg and slide our left hand down. Now you can turn to look towards the leg a little bit. You can go as low as you want or stay as high as you want. And then let yourself look forward and let the right shoulder roll up. And there's a side stretch right there. Adding an arm is up to you. I actually like to feel my ribs sometimes in this pose. I think it feels really good to just be aware of what the rib cage is doing here. Or you can put your hand up behind your head. Of course, again, this is a shoulder thing. Or you can stretch your arm long if you want. So you can always, you know, go back to a place where it felt really good to stay for just a little bit longer with your breath. Good. Now to rise up, think about your belly bringing you back up, right? And then we'll bring our right hand down. We're just going to slide down on that side. And again, totally up to you. You can look down for a second towards your leg, towards your foot there if you want. And then when you get ready to look forward, roll that left shoulder up. Again, you know, you can experiment. The hand can go up to the ribs. You can keep the hand right down your hip. It doesn't matter. You're still getting a side stretch here. And, you know, if you feel like, oh, I really want to feel a little bit more in my side body, you can add the arm or not. Good. One more breath. And now use your belly to bring you on back. And then let's bring our hands behind us. And you can just let yourself open the chest here. Draw the chest forward. Now, still feel your heels on the floor. Drawing back towards you a little bit. That high heel thing pressing into the balls of your feet. So you're very engaged, just opening through the chest here. Good. And then we'll release, come on back up. And you might want to use your hands to bring the heavy legs together there now. And we're going to head down onto our backs on the floor. So take your time, come on down and release there onto your back. Bring your knees in towards your chest once you get down there and let the knees go a little bit side to side. Feel that release of the low back. Good. Now let's bring our feet back down to the floor and cross our right ankle above our left knee. A figure 4 here. Now some people's hips might want to stay right here, left foot on the ground, using your right hand to encourage your right thigh away from you. But some of you might want to draw the left leg in and clasp behind your left thigh. That is up to you and your hips. So if you're clasping behind your thigh and your left foot is off the floor, flex through both your feet. And if you have the legs in close enough to you, you can use your right elbow to kind of encourage the right knee more away from you as you pull your thigh in towards your chest a little more. Very deep stretch. Don't overdo. Keeping the feet flexing keeps you engaged as you come into the stretch. Good. And then we're going to let the left foot come down if it was up. We're going to uncross, and we're going to switch. So again, left ankle above the right knee. You might want to use your hand right there to just encourage that knee away from you. You might want to draw the right leg in and clasp behind the thigh. Flex through both the feet. Again, if you're close enough, your left elbow can kind of encourage the left knee to stay away as you draw your thigh in towards you. Good. One more breath. And then we'll bring the foot on back down. And we're going to uncross our legs. And let's bring our knees back into our chest. And this time stretch your legs up towards the ceiling so that you're like really long-legged up there. And let one foot come forward and one back, like you're cross-country skiing on the ceiling. So just be mindful. You can point your feet and do these. You can flex your feet and do these. Just let yourself feel really easy. And then bring both feet back up to the top and see if you can open them like you're going towards that wide angle we sat in. And then you're going to close them back up to the top. Now again, this is the same thing. You can do it with flexed feet, and you don't have to go any wider apart with your feet than you want. You can point your feet and let them legs come wide and back up. So just play a little bit, and if you want to go back to the cross-country skiing and kind of play around with either one of those, do it. Start to really kind of listen, actually, to your own body here now. And there could be any number of things that sound like a good idea right now for you to do. So be mindful and take your time. I'm going to start to get some lights. And I'll be walking around to bring stuff. But really, if you need to do any other kind of pose or any other movement, by all means do. And that can be anything at all right now. You might want to do a bridge pose. You might want to do another kind of twist. You might want your knees coming to one side and back. Take your time, and I will start to bring. Remember, if you're at home, you have bolster, and you know that bolsters are really good for you to use underneath your knees, or if you don't have a bolster, you can use a rolled up blanket. If you feel uncomfortable once you lie on your back, remember, you do not want to be uncomfortable for Shavasana. So you can lie on your side. You can use support everywhere that you need it. So take your time. I'm going to walk through here, and I have an inkling about some of you, but if I miss anybody, let me know. If you need a blanket for under your head, let me know. Got your little one, right? So if you need a blanket for under your head, let me know, or for cover. Be mindful, take your time. Let yourself find a place for your arms and your legs where it feels very easy in your shoulders and your hips. And then just let yourself melt down into the ground. So accepting your breaths in and out. And at first the breath will kind of want to change a little bit. You'll sometimes want to breathe in a little deeper. And that happens throughout your meditation, but just keep refocusing to the breath. It finds this natural wave in and out. All you want to do is think of watching that. And your mind and your body will want to follow your breath into that quieter place. So just give yourself the gift of these few minutes and allow yourself to completely and fully relax. your breath come in and go out more fully and deeply, so you feel the actual physical movement as you breathe in and out, feeling your belly, maybe your ribs rising. Just take your time. Let those deeper breaths bring you back into wanting to move. Your fingers, your toes, your hands, your feet can lead you so that you gradually come up into your arms, your legs when you're ready. Moving how you need. If you need to stretch everything long, do. If you need to draw your knees in, do. Really just take your time so that if you need to stay on your back a little bit longer, if you feel really good to roll to your right or your left side anytime you can come into a soft fetal position on your side using your arm as a pillow if you'd like, and rest there for, sometimes that just gives you a little bit of more time to adjust, and also could be better for your back, depending. So when you feel ready to rise up, let it feel easy to come on up to getting your head up there again, up on top, and sit comfortably for your own hips, whether it's stretching your legs out or bringing your legs cross-legged or even getting a blanket to sit on. And close your eyes if they did open on the way up. Let yourself just enjoy, feeling now as you reach the crown of the head up and you feel all that space in your spine. The ease of your breath coming in and going out through your nose. And on your next exhale, let your hands come gently to meet there in front of your chest. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste.
Namaste.